Hi, it's Kim from Expressions of the Universe with your weekly wisdom for February 28th through March 6th. Welcome back to my channel. And I have a pick a card for all you this week. And I have our goddess of the week, our crystal of the week, and some juicy weekly wisdom, and some astrology, stars and cards. So let's get started. I'm going to have you pick either card 1, card 2, or card 3. You choose. And I'll read that in just a little bit. The goddess that I have for this week, it is Lakshmi, and I already posted her on Facebook and Instagram, and I have to add her to my perpetual blog and Linktree. So, if you wanted to read the article and the previous week's goddesses, and I keep mentioning that this year, 2021, I'm pulling a goddess card for each of the 52 weeks of the year. And, I was always pulling more cards than that, doing them on Monday, Wednesday, Friday, pairing it with the astrology, but it just really got to be too much for me. And so I would rather pour more of me into, one base card for the week, and then just highlight some of the astrology. Like a less is more type of thing, just because I was starting to not like it. And then, my creative juices were running out. I'm working on a couple of different articles. I'm working on some art. Oh yeah, my little cards that I'm designing, I just made several more to add to the deck, and I meant to grab them to show all of you. I don't know how to pause this because I have a new device, but they're only like 10 feet over from where I am. So maybe at the end I'll be able to show you. My crystal of the week, wind came flying out of the deck. It is not a crystal, it is an element. It made me think of winds of change, the air elements of Aquarius and Gemini that are going to be extremely prominent this year. For astrology, we have quite a few planets in Aquarius, so that's the air sign. I do think this also symbolizes air travel, air waves. Mars will be getting ready to move into Gemini on March 3rd. That's going to be huge. Venus just moved into Pisces, so it's all like lovey-dovey dreamy. Lakshmi is the goddess of fortune, wealth, joy, prosperity, and abundance. She came flying out of the deck when I was shuffling this morning. And I really kind of didn't want to pick her, so I was looking through the deck thinking, oh, should there be a more appropriate goddess? And I'm like, why am I second guessing myself? And I love when I just randomly pick, although I really am hoping that a couple of the goddesses that are coming up are going to align with certain holidays, kind of like Brigid. She came within days right before her holiday. I think a lot of the goddesses have been aligning perfectly, so I'm like, yes, go with her. So I wrote a really good little article about her. You can see that now on Instagram and Facebook at Expressions of the Universe. Yeah, but she kind of reminds me of Jupiter. We do have that full moon in Virgo going on right now, which reminded me of Demeter. And I wasn't even realizing that the full snow moon in Virgo was coming up when I did Demeter. But I said she just really reminds me of Virgo. It's like, she's rising up from winter. She's waking up the land. Everything's waking up. And that really goes with Lakshmi, because she's, bringing us nutrients and sustenance. So you'll have to check her out. I think that's a good sign for all of us. And then the actual crystal or stone of the week, it's coming up as Cooperite. And like, I can't even make this up. So this flew out of the deck. I wound up randomly shuffling and picking this. And it talks about feminine power. And I do keep hearing that message over and over again. Part of the reason why I chose goddesses. But I had been picking up that message since we had all of that planetary energy in Capricorn and Cancer, like for the last 3-4 years. And so if you go back to my old videos, you'll see how I kept talking about feminine, that mother energy really stepping up and coming in to her power again, because that's part of the reason why I'm doing goddesses this year. It has nothing to do with like anything against men. I love men. But it has to do with how man, not men in general, but, you know, society bastardized women. They use women as objects, but like women were honored and revered and they ruled kingdoms. And, you know, let's bring those stories back and allow women to reclaim their power instead of being utilized as an object. And like my shaman just did this like raw and real video the other night. It's private for now. She only sent it to certain people, but she was speaking about that. And I was just like, wow, everything kind of aligns. Let's grab your cards. Let's see. All right, so what else I wanted to talk about? So I said Venus moved into Pisces. We should start to feel a little better. Mars moving into Gemini March 3rd. I really think that that is going to bring us some shocking news, some unexpected news. I talk about it in my Lakshmi post. I think we could be having some medical and informational breakthroughs coming in. So we'll see. I think there's good news on the way too. You know, Gemini and Mercury, they're the messenger. Mars, it's all about action, but he's like, he's like really super excited in Gemini because he has that fiery passion, and Gemini is all about like doing things quickly. So I just think that we will be getting information overload. There could be a lot of things in the media that we'll be seeing, little shockers and surprises. So, but I think there's good news on the way. Big shifts in energy with Venus moving into Pisces and Mars moving into Gemini. I feel that we will not feel as sluggish with Mars moving into Gemini. We will start to want to get moving and grooving, get out and about. Pisces and Venus kind of makes us feel really kind of lovey-dovey. We're seeing things with rose-colored glasses, which, you know what? At this point, after this year of pandemic, like, why not? We need to start seeing things beautifully. Last year, it's been almost a year in quarantine, you know, a year in seclusion. And so, you know, I made myself a really beautiful dinner this evening, traditional Roman carbonara. I did post that on my personal page, but on my Instagram. So on my Instagram, I do mix a lot of personal with, you know, the cards and things because I use it more as an art page. I love the photography. You know, when I'm shooting the cards, I really put a lot of heart and soul in that. And so, yeah, I posted that. It was so delicious. But I'm really trying to do things so simply, but beautifully, and really indulge in, like, the small things and enjoy the simplicity of life. It's starting to warm up here. The sun has been shining. Yeah, we had some rain, but it was 55 degrees Fahrenheit, so I'm not complaining. But, you know, about the weekly wisdom, before I read your cards, I was thinking about how I haven't been inspired. You know, like it's a struggle sometimes to stay inspired. And I discovered kind of why, in a sense, and I have been able to re-tap back into that. So at the end of every one of these videos, I'll leave you with some little nuggets of wisdom once again, instead of ramblings. But you know, it was a challenging week, and I think that Mercury in Aquarius, especially coming out of the retrograde, still in the shadow, it's caused a lot of us to be really argumentative, kind of cranky, opinionated, and it's caused some issues in my life. And so I made some discoveries through, gosh, some downfalls, growth and failure I have written down here. But I'm really trying to get back to my roots of inspiration. What I mean by growth and failure, like I've spent, you know, pretty much 3/4 of my life trying to raise my vibration, always do better, be a good person. You know, I spend my whole life doing that because, you know, that's just who I am. But things trigger me because I'm human, right? And when I get triggered, I can be really, really nasty. And I'm being transparent and honest. And like, but then, you know, other people are too, and it just like perpetuates. But I was like so mad at myself because I'm like, my gosh, you know, I've spent my whole life trying to grow and get out of that. And it only takes a split second to throw me back into that really lower nasty vibration. And I'm like, what the hell is that? So, you know, and I think that's even part of the growth, even just recognizing that. So, you know, just arguing with my daughter, and it sucked. I was really disappointed in myself, but I'm going to forgive myself and just try and do better. We wound up having a really great conversation today. Today was wedding dress alteration day, and we really did have a good time. I love that we can come back together and have these great discussions and like decipher out each other's behavior so that we can both grow and be better people. But I just wanted to say that, you know, like, major setback this week, but then, you know, everything winds up being good. But it's part of being human, and that's what I wanted to talk to you about with that, because don't beat yourself up. I got my little spring flowers. I thought I would do a different view. Yeah, a little bit of a mess here in the kitchen, but this is real life. Yeah, so let's do your cards. Okay, so I'm hoping that this is recording. I don't know, because it is a new device. So we'll see. All right, card 1, card 2, card 3. You ready? Okay, so card number 1. Oh, these are the Animal Totem Oracle cards. I just wanted to do these. I haven't done them in a while. So card number 1, it is Skunk Totem. And some of you may be thinking, oh no, I picked the skunk. But it's about knowing your self-worth. It's about honoring yourself, knowing your value. And also, too, is when I think of the skunk. So I love the smell of skunk. And I just smelled some the other day, which means they are starting to wake up. Spring is coming. When you start to smell them, you know that they're coming out of their little burrows of hibernation, and spring is on its way. But think about, a lot of people don't like the smell of the skunk. They think it's stinky. I think it's glorious. I know it's disgusting, but I don't know. I love it. But not everybody's going to like you. Not everybody's going to think you're wonderful. And that's okay. That doesn't make you a horrible person, doesn't make you any less than. When you know your own self-worth and you value yourself and you have high self-esteem, it doesn't matter if you're even a skunk. So that's really what this is saying. And the number on the card is 54, so that makes me think of getting in the right headspace with yourself and also knowing where it is you truly belong. So I love that. Card number 2, it is Butterfly Spirit. So if you chose card number 2, this is about change and transformation is coming your way. This is like a new beginning, like a rebirth. We're finally like waking up and spring is here in the Northern Hemisphere. So it's, you know, those bright new beginnings, big transformation, could be huge changes for anybody that chose this. It says transformation is beautiful. Transformation is beautiful, but it's often kind of painful. But this is saying you're ready. You're ready to take that leap of faith. You're ready to make those changes. You know, and this could run the gamut. And I think it goes really well with Lakshmi as well, because this is prosperity and abundance, but these changes could be change of a job, change of a home, change of a lover, change of friends. Like, it could run the gamut. It could even just be a new self-image for yourselves. And then card number 3. Oh, wait, the number on this card is, it's 11. Oh, I love that. So that is about integrity and it is about authenticity. So this change transformation would have you stepping into your authentic self, which is kind of one of my little wisdom messages at the end of this. And then I have Spider Spirit for card number 3. And I love this because this talks about what it is that we are creating. If you've been following me for any amount of time, you know I talk about spider an awful lot. In many native cultures, they believe that the spider is the grandmother that created the universe and created the earth. By weaving her web and weaving the stars and weaving the earth, but our thoughts and our feelings and our vibrations are also creating everything that shows up in our lives, which is another message that I will be giving you a little nugget of at the end of this. This is card number 56, which equals an 11, so talking about integrity. But it is about the mind and the heart and aligning them in one space so that what you are creating is beautiful. This says, make your dreams real. That's what the card at the bottom says. And I talk about that in my Lakshmi blog at the beginning, I believe, saying like, what are your wildest dreams? Like, what is it that you want? Our dreams are as big as our limitations, our mental limitations. That's what I'm trying to say. So, love that card. I hope you liked your cards for the week. And, oh, I didn't even show you the Cooperite that I have here. And I had to go searching for it. So, this is really a fantastic specimen of Cooperite. And that goes with the Feminine Power card. And I'm fortunate enough to do some readings out of my friend's crystal shop. And so I have access to really choice, beautiful specimens. So anyway, yep, that's going to be the crystal of the week. I'll post that tomorrow to give you all a little bonus since I posted Lakshmi today. Or I'll post that on Monday. Let me just see. I got everything together. Okay. So my little wisdom nuggets. Getting back to my roots of inspiration. part of why I think I haven't been inspired the way I used to is I got rid of cable. And I was just talking to Michelle, who's one of our friends here, about cable versus streaming. And I got rid of cable 4 years ago. But one of the sacrifices of that is that I didn't get the OWN channel, OWN, which is owned by Oprah Winfrey, because the streaming service that I have didn't offer it. And that was really hard for me because I watched Super Soul Sunday every Sunday, or I taped it and then watched it later, but for the most part, I watched it every Sunday morning, or Sunday evening. But I know a lot of you don't like Oprah. I don't know why. I think she's fabulous. I guess we all have our own opinions. Good for her that she's a billionaire. Good for her. Good for her for really putting herself out there and like in such a big way. I think that's why a lot of people maybe don't like her. But she has a lot of fabulous people on her show. Spiritual leaders, advice givers. And I've been watching her, you know, for decades. And I always drew inspiration from that. Well, now I got Discovery Plus, that new channel, and it's only a couple dollars a month. So it's very economical and the family's sharing it, but I have the OWN channel again. So I've been able to go back and watch some of those episodes and get re-inspired. And I'm like, oh my gosh, this is what my soul has been wanting. So that's one of the things I wrote down. Longing. What is your soul longing for? If you find that you're craving something all the time, especially, you know, like in your career, in your life, like, you know, the people that you're with, those longings, is our soul speaking to us through these longings? And I don't know. It just really makes me feel passionate because I long to do art. I long to write. So it's like, why am I working this day job for people that you know, like this corporation that doesn't really care. They don't care. They only care about their bottom line. It's like, I mean, it does come down to money, yes, but I do follow my passions, but I want you all to follow your passions as well. Maybe I'm too chicken. Maybe I'm fearful to jump ship and just like give this a go full time with my readings and my art and my writing. I don't know. Maybe I'm afraid. Lakshmi talks about there always being enough. The mantra that I had written says, what is mine will not go past me. I love that. And also too, when you see other people that have something, say to yourself, and I too will get mine. So I don't know. I just have to find that place. The other little nugget that I have for this week, and I do plan on trying to have at least one wise nugget. It's about vibration. And I've talked about this for years, but I heard Michael Beckwith talk about vibration, and I'm like, oh, I don't think I ever really heard it that way or felt it that way. But I'm going to like paraphrase, quote, some of the things that he talked about. He says, when he talks about attraction, what we attract to ourselves, he says that we're really actually drawing in what we are radiating out. That whatever vibe it is that we are putting out, that's what we're pulling in. Okay, so whatever vibration we are putting out, is from what we, wait, let me start over. it would help, I guess, if I put my glasses on, just so that I could read this. Vibration. We are drawing in or attracting whatever vibration we are putting out. Whatever it is we're radiating out into the world. So when we're angry, when we have animosity, when we have hatred, jealousy, spite, vengeance, anything like of that lower, I think even sadness and grief, which, you know, I mean, that happens. When we are in those lower energies, we're slowing down our vibration. We're slowing down the ability to draw in the good stuff. He also said you cannot have what you are not willing to become vibrationally. And then this is what I heard. This is what was different from what I had always heard. He says, you know, if you could get something, and you could temporarily manipulate your vibration enough, you know, like when you're doing a full moon or a new moon wish, that's like a temporary manipulation of wishes and hoping and, you know, trying to get yourself in that vibe for the things that you want. And you may be able to attain something, but it's short-lived because he says you could lose it. And the reason being is that because inside we may not be vibrationally aligned with that thing that we got because we hadn't really fully become it. So I'm hoping this makes sense to all you. I'm going to use the analysis of the full moon and the new moon blessings and the rituals and the wishes that we do when we're trying to bring in something to our lives. And we get into that ritual mode and we do our, you know, light our candles, light the fire ceremony, go to a ceremony. We put our crystals out. We take our salt baths. We go stand under the full moon and howl. And so we're aligning vibrationally. And we put our wishes out. Well, that only lasts for a certain amount of time. You've got to walk that talk all of the time. So this is why, and he brought up the analogy. People that win the lottery, they win millions of dollars and then they lose it. Or they get into a relationship with somebody that they have been longing for and then they can't make that relationship work. Or even when it comes to their success, they got their dream job. But once they did, you know, they started slacking off or whatever because they're not living, they hadn't really become that vibration that they needed to have in order to sustain it. And I hope that makes sense to all of you because it did to me, and I thought at the time it was poignant. And I probably just screwed it up. And I do the same thing with jokes. Just so you know, I can't tell a joke to save my life because I fuck it up. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed this video. And I hope you're having a really great weekend. Have a great week. You know, feel free to comment me. Let me know what you thought. I will respond to you because I do that. Check out my other videos, subscribe to my channel if you haven't done so. If you have any ideas of things that you'd like to hear or know, just let me know. I do have an Ask Me Anything section, and I haven't recorded any of those videos in a while. So if you have a question, let me know, and maybe I'll make a video out of it for you. Back in my Master Astrology classes again, so it's busy time. And oh, I did say that I'd show you my little oracle cards if you'll hold on, because I don't know how to pause this without screwing it up. So here I come. All right, so I made a couple of extra cards. A couple weeks ago, I showed all of you what I was making. So I'm doing the artwork. I'm doing mixed media. These cards I have not made yet, but I did paint. I did all of the artwork on them, and I think they're pretty cute, and I used some metallic paints. Just some little designs, watercolor paints. And then, so the newest ones I have, this one's Declutter for 10 minutes. This one I think is cute. It says take a nature break. So I'm doing some mixed media, and this, you know, these backgrounds I did paint myself. And then I'm going to see about trying to mass produce them. This one says promote what you love instead of bashing what you hate. So mixed media is taking, you know, different pictures and like collaging them out. This one says have a cuppa. And I didn't put coffee because I know a lot of people like tea. But I like this one especially. And this one says take a bath, and then I list salt and bubbles, candles, the different things that I put in my bath, and flowers. So I thought that that was kind of cute. This one says gut feelings are guardian angels, listen to them. So what these cards are, they're self-care cards. You're having a day, you're having a bad day, shuffle the deck, pick a card and do it, even if it's for 10 minutes. And then of course, these are the ones that I created a few weeks ago. That says light a candle, breathe, maybe, yes, take a nap, listen to music, play, journey, explore, grow, create art. And then this one says all is well. And then down in the bottom, it's cute. It says we all grow at different rates. So those are the cards so far. I'm going to try and do a deck of 52. Then I'm going to test out the reproduction of them and see how it goes. And if it goes okay, then I will start to offer them for sale for all of you at a pretty reasonable price. But it will be limited quantities because I'm going to be making them myself. So we'll see how that goes. Anyway, now this is where my videos and my subscription thing will show up. Have a great week.